This is the 2022 Mercedes Benz EQS 450 Plus. It seats 5, has 329 horsepower, and this specific model to 0 to 60 in 5.9 seconds. It also has a single-speed automatic transmission. The curb weight of this vehicle is 5,597 pounds. It's 59.5 inches tall and is 207.3 inches in length. The torque on the car is 419 foot-pounds. The power of the battery is 245 kilowatts, and the battery capacity is 107.8 kilowatt hours. The AC charging speed is 9.6 kilowatt hours. AC charging time from 10 to 100% is 11.25 hours. The DC charging speed goes up to 200 kilowatt hours. DC charging time from 10 to 80% is only 31 minutes. I'm very excited to review Mercedes' first mass production EV, and I hope you enjoy the video. In this video, I'm going to review the exterior of the car, share my thoughts on the interior, and at the end, we will take it for a drive. Now, some of you that are Mercedes enthusiasts, you know absolutely everything. This is not the Hyperscreen model, so there's not this full screen that covers the entire front dash of the car. It's just a different package, but I want to show you this. So when you click the home button here, you have these shortcuts to all of the different screen options here, which I think is really cool, highly effective, very quick. There's no lag here. We'll put it in the understated mode, hit OK, and then it changes the entire dash. So I really like that feature. So this is very cool here. We're sitting in a parking spot, and this is a highly accurate augmented reality of exactly where the car is positioned. Shows you how far you are, and you're able to pinch zoom in on the car, see how far you are from the curb, and just seamlessly spin around the car to make sure you have enough clearance up here. Really impressive. And also the views, now before in a lot of cars there were 4 sections. There was a front, there was a side, rear, and the other side of the car. Now it's seamless. It's totally puzzled together and smooth. It's like being in a video game and you're just taking a look at your car. You can also press these buttons here to go to various angles quickly without scrolling. Really impressive system. Also, parking assistance it does have. So as you're driving along in a parking space, it's going to look for 2 cars to position off of. So there's a space in between 2 cars. That's what it's looking for. A little P button will pop up. You press that and the car will park itself. Now that's more of a common feature. Mercedes has been doing that for years. But again, just something to note that the EQS has. But this is, I mean, that's just a next level type of reality. So then also, you know, it's giving us all this real-time feedback. If you turn your wheel, it shows you exactly how your wheel is positioned. So if you're parallel parking or you're getting confused on exactly where the wheel is positioned, it shows you exactly where it's at. Also, with the rear wheel steering, it animates that. I don't know if you're able to see it, but it does make a little bit of an adjustment as I'm moving it on the screen. So here's the range here. It currently says 275 max. We're at 262. It's a really well upholstered car, as you would imagine. So we're going to click into the menu here. Okay, so we're at 76% charge right now, which is 262 miles. Again, 350 mile range on this thing, which I'm very impressed with. I think it's worth it for manufacturers to wait until their mileage is up to a reasonable point. In my opinion, I think you need to be at least at 300 miles before you release a car. I just think that's very important because everyone's going to be looking, how far can you drive it? That's like the first question. And if it's, you say, well, 200 miles, that's going to turn away a lot of people. So good job, Mercedes, by doing that. So there's all of these settings. This is what's very fascinating to me is I feel like other cars, now I've driven the Porsche Taycan, I've driven a lot of EVs. I feel like other manufacturers are more honest about how far their cars are going to go. Like the displayed range is more accurate, where in the Tesla it falls off very quickly if you're driving at 80 miles per hour. It's just something that I've noticed and other people have too. I will say if you go the speed limit, it gets you exactly where you want to be. I just know when you're going above the speed limit, which on highways is very common, it falls off much more drastically, whereas these cars, it doesn't seem down. Now, I've not driven the EQS Plus, and I'm just speculating, but that's just what I've felt when I've driven these types of cars. You can set up all of these different charging areas. You can set up charging based on location, unlock charging cable, all that stuff. There's a lot to dive into there. And then here's a look at the navigation screen. It's intuitive. It's like my cell phone. My cell phone, if I want to zoom in, I go like this. If I want to zoom out, I go like that on a photo. And that's exactly how this is. So I really like this. It's a high quality screen, moves around basically right with your finger. Let's look at charging stations. So that's nice here. It shows you all of these third-party chargers that are fairly close. So in most other EVs currently, there is a frunk. So you're able to pop the hood, throw things in, close it up because there's no engine up there. Well, Mercedes has a lot of their electrical components up here, and this is a clamshell, so this is totally sealed. Part of the reason is for aerodynamics. This has the least coefficient of drag of any car currently being produced. It's highly efficient. That's why, you know, maybe it doesn't look quite as good as the S-Class in my opinion, but there's a reason for that. It's all about functionality. So because you cannot open this up, this is where you put in the windshield wiper fluid. As you can see there by that little symbol down there. So you pour it in there and then you close it up. And that is simply for aerodynamics. I just found that fascinating because imagine what it cost to have this panel, have this cutout in it, and then work this into the front of the car. I just think it's funny they went to that extent, but I can also appreciate a detail like that. Also another EQS logo here, and then around the rear of the car, the EQS 450 Plus. So this is popped out because I pressed the camera button on the inside of the car, but this also functions as a tailgate lift. So there's a huge opening here, similar to a Porsche Panamera. It's massive. Let's see if there's anything down in here. It's probably the, yeah, oh, there actually is some storage down here, so that's nice. There's a tow hook right there, and then you have some type of probably roadside assistance bag or charging cable bag that's in there. So that's nice. They have some storage down there, and I love the hatchback feature because if you remove this, that's where the trunk cover scrolls up into. So if you popped that out and folded the seats down in the back, you'd have a ton of room to take bicycles or whatever you were doing. You could probably accomplish it in this car, and you can see there's access to the trunk right there. So now into the rear of the car. Let's take a look. Oh yeah. The space is crazy. I mean, you know, there's 4 inches, 5 inches in front of my knees. So you're totally covered on space. It has more space than a Model S from what I remember. The back seat sits kind of weird. You feel like you should be sitting more down in the car, whereas I feel I'm sitting above the drivers, which is weird, but something you could get used to. And again, just having this type of space is amazing. So very comfortable. What do we got here? USB-C ports right here. Nothing here, but this is surprising. I'm sure there's packages where you can get screens here and all that type of stuff. Let's see what's in the center console. What is that? Well, folks, you know, I haven't done all my research, but I don't know what this is. I don't know if that's for sitting your phone down in. Yeah, I'm not sure what the purpose of this is, but that's what comes out. Unless it's supposed to come all the way. No, I don't think. Now, the other thing to notice is these, oh yeah, I'm taking this home. That is so nice. You know, if you want to be driven around, this is what you want on the back of your head. It's like an Alcantara pillow, speakers right here. I mean, this is nice back here. I still think the rear seat has a weird position to it. You sit up high. I'd like if it went out a little bit more just for some more leg support. There's a lot of space, and that's the trade-off. There's only a little hump here, so you have a lot of room in the middle. You could probably sit 3 people back here comfortably. In fact, you definitely could, so that's nice. Burmester sound system, so it looks beautiful. And the back of the car is pretty simple. You still have this Alcantara with the rose gold trim going along the back. This is like just plastic, basically. And then you have these little compartments here to store in anything that you need to. So I need to give a big shout out to Mercedes Benz of Gilbert. They were nice enough to let me come down and review this car. Also, Matt, thank you for setting this up. They were very nice to let me come down, review the car, drive it. So if you need a Mercedes Benz, you're in Arizona, this is the place to go. This is a Gjeebs approved business in Arizona. An additional feature on the interior is how to adjust the pan and tilt of the steering wheel. So it just has this little joystick right here. and you just press it forward, press it down, whatever you need to do, it's all right there. And I find that very nice, just have an electric motor take care of that as opposed to manually doing it. Because if you drive a Mercedes Benz, you don't want to be doing anything on your own. You want the car to take care of it. You just paid 102 grand. You don't have to lift the steering wheel. So nice work there. Parking brake is right down here. All of your light functions are right here. I love these turbine looking air vents. I feel like these are the best type of air vents to have in a car because you can be so accurate with them and you can just turn them any way you want. I just love the accuracy of these. Nice feature. There's also USB-C plugs everywhere. There's 8 that I've found so far. 2, 4, 6, and 8 back there when you fold that down, as I showed you earlier. There's no shortage of USB-C buttons. And yeah, I just love how this trim goes all along the car. I really like the way that looks. I have my heated seat on and it feels amazing. It's a little chilly out here in Arizona today, so it's nice to have this heated seat. Another unique feature of the EQS is this fingerprint sensor. So you put your finger there and it says that's the fingerprint sensor. So I don't have it set up. This is not my car, but just so you know. These are probably the drive modes. Vehicle drive program. We'll talk about that more when I'm driving. This again is the camera in the rear of the car, so you press that. And then this button is just various features. I also like that this entire bar, you actually press it and it gives you feedback like a button. So it actually moves. It's not those haptics, or at least I don't think it is. It feels great. So everything's very fast. I really like how this all works. And then there's also the climate menu down here. Let's see if we can drag that up. Can't drag that up. You can hit back, do your devices, all that type of stuff. And then you can probably have different profiles. Yeah. So there's a lot that you can dive into here. I'm not gonna go too far into it today. Here's a look at the interior with the roof opened up. Looks beautiful. But the way that you open it up and close it is really cool. So there's this slot right here, and if I want to close it, I just swipe my finger forward, and now it closes up for you. So really nice. Again, that's all taken care of. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry if it's in position because the car's doing it for me. So very nicely done. That's something that Tesla should have, an option at least, to have these covers go over the panoramic roof. Let's get to driving this thing because that's one of the most important things. All right, so we are off in the EQS 450 Plus. I can already tell you the suspension is unbelievable how smooth it is, and I've driven it 85 feet. So we get on the road here, do a little acceleration and see how it is. Now, it does have paddle shifters, as I mentioned earlier. The paddle shifters seem to be for the regenerative braking. So I think that's an interesting way to put it in here as opposed to putting another button, put them in as paddle shifters. Just a unique way of thinking about it. And we'll do a little acceleration here to see how that feels. It's very smooth. And it's fast enough. Some of the cars that are priced in this range, I get frustrated when the 0 to 60 time is like 7 seconds. I get that that's more efficient, but I feel like when you're buying a Mercedes, you're buying like an S-Class. They're fast cars. They have a lot of power to them. It's effortless power. Half throttle gets you to where you need to be. So I like that this follows that formula. So the 0 to 60 time on this car is 5.9 seconds. On the 580 model, it's 4.1. And actually, when I did that little pullback there, I was pleasantly surprised by that. When I've driven like the Model 3 that has 5.3 seconds to 60, surprisingly doesn't feel as quick as this did from a dig. So just something to keep in mind. I know those cars are totally different, but yeah. Suspension's amazing. Steering, it's a Mercedes. Like, that's kind of what you would expect here. Again, like I said earlier, I like that they waited until they had a car that could go over 300 miles. This is a 350 mile range vehicle, so I really like that. Now, something that you have to talk about when you're talking about any electric vehicle is the charging network. Tesla has the best right now. Now, these other manufacturers are going to catch up, and especially with someone like the power of Mercedes and the manufacturing power that they have, they are going to catch up. And ultimately, I think other brands need to come together to create their third-party network that's consistent and fits with all their cars, just like gas stations are right now. You want to go to Shell, you want to go to whatever gas station you're going to, you don't have to think about it. That's where we're heading towards. So Tesla has the advantage now. I think that's going to change in the future. And the way that this drives like an executive car. The Tesla Model S, I've driven the Model S Plaid, I've driven the Model S Long Range, and they are nice cars, but they're not as well upholstered as these are. But that's kind of what you would expect. This is comfortable. You're not trying to drag race at every red light. You're not taking it to the drag strip. You want to be comfortable, and then there's zero emissions from the car. So yeah, it's very well put together. So we're merging on to the 202 loop here, and the quietness of the car is excellent. Now, what I'm about to say was stolen. In fact, the guy that's off camera here, he gave me this information. I really like it. He said, sitting in this car is like being at the Google homepage. It's very simple, it's very peaceful, you know what you're gonna do. Behind that Google homepage is billions of dollars and years of research that makes the car perform as it does. It rides quiet, delivers power nicely, everything works efficiently in the car. So yes, it appears simple, but there's so much more behind the scenes that is going on that makes it Mercedes Benz. Yeah, I mean, this is rough road that I'm on. It's smooth, but like it's been worn over time. This is very loud in other cars. It's quiet in here. I don't have to raise my voice or anything like that. We're just cruising along. The suspension's eating up all the bumps and joints in the road. Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's what you would expect out of a Mercedes. I just really enjoy this thing. And I also like that it has that, it's like a hatchback feature in the rear. I like that you could put bikes in it or whatever. I just like that there's a lot of space in this car. There's a lot of functionality, and you could actually carry 5 people in it. The rear seat isn't, you know, too tight to where 5 people would be tough to put in. You could definitely do that. Yeah, the suspension is unbelievable. It is an air suspension, so it's going to eat up just about everything, but it handles it really well. So I put it into no recuperation right now, so it's just like a normal car. It drives along. And if I hit the minus, normal recuperation, and then strong recuperation, this feels more like a Tesla does. So when you get on it, let off, yeah, it really eats it up and puts that energy back into the battery, which I like. I feel like when you're going downhill, it's giving you more energy and things like that. And also, single pedal driving is great. If you can gauge your distance for the car in front of you, it's really nice to be able to just let off and let the car slow itself down. So yeah, you do have 3 settings of adjustment for the battery recuperation, which I like. I love to have options. Everyone's different. Some people hate the Teslas brake like that. I've seen people say it makes them sick, but in this car you have the option to change that. So that's my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, thank you to Mercedes Benz of Gilbert for letting me drive this car, because I know they're hard to get your hands on right now. It's nice of them to do that and just give my perspective of it. It's very hard to do these types of things without dealerships sometimes letting you in to show the newer cars. So if you guys are in the Arizona area, come out to Mercedes Benz of Gilbert. They're great. And I've actually come here previously just looking at cars on the lot. They're always offering me water, and their water is chilled. You know, some of the dealerships, it's room temperature. I don't like that. But they're very nice out here, very welcoming, and they let me review the car, which helps the channel. So show them some love if you're in the area. And that's it. Please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we'll see you in the next video.